So right now you're looking at a flow designed to get you users for your startup using Reddit. So I'll run it so you can watch Astral do its thing. First, Astral opens up a browser instance and navigates to reddit.com. Next, it's going to log us in. Astral draws boxes around relevant clickable elements to understand the page. It takes screenshots, analyzes them, and it decides what to do next based on our goal. Watch how Astral finds the right places to click. It's honestly really fascinating to see how it navigates the site just like a human would. Now Astral's heading to r/product management, where it's going to look for recent posts about user research. Okay, it's found a relevant post. Now Astral will write a reply that promotes the product without sounding too salesy. It even mentions that we're working on it to keep things transparent. And it's posted.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the AI Marketing Navigator. This is your daily compass in the ever-evolving world of AI marketing. Okay, Navigators, we're back with another episode today that I am almost too pumped up to bring to you in any sort of reasonable manner. So I'm going to do my best to keep it concise and informative and not go off on any tangents, which actually shouldn't be too hard. There's not a whole lot to dive into as far as demos or tours at this point. It's just an AI product announcement that went viral on X and it went viral across the socials and across the AI space just a day or two ago. And it is called Astral, and it's a marketing agent that operates in your browser. Now, if you have listened to the show recently, you know that 2 days ago, we did an episode on an AI tool called Astral. That was astral.now. And that is a different Astral. In fact, when I was doing the research for that episode, I came across this Astral viral story about the Reddit demo that you're about to see here and just kind of skimmed over it. But here we are a couple days later covering the new Astral. So whereas that Astral tool that we covered 2 days ago was all about trying to repurpose and crank out content based off of source material, this is astral.now, and it's a browser agent that is very different. And the timing of the two episodes being so close is not ideal. I'll make sure to differentiate between the two in the titles, and hopefully it won't drive anybody too crazy, at least not as crazy as it's going to drive me. And I'll also be interested to see which Astral comes out on top of the marketing and branding battle here. Anyway, back on January 9th, it looks like, was when this announcement was made about Astral, and it was made in a video recorded by the creator of Astral, Savannah Fader, who demos what the tool is capable of. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you watch that video in a second here. And she demos what it does on Reddit and basically acting as kind of like a social media moderator for Astral, the product. And so the tool pulls up a review in Reddit, it goes in and it comments in a very transparent and organic fashion, and it does a pretty seamless, smooth job. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and let you watch that section of the video right now. By the way, I'm guessing that this is an AI generated video here that we're about to look at, an avatar just by the looks and feel of it. I could be wrong, but it seems very reminiscent of some of those Hey Gen avatars and recordings that we've generated and that we've seen. It's just a guess, but kind of a testament to the technology that you can't really be 100% sure either way. So again, here is Savannah Fader, the creator of Astral, demoing this agentic browser behavior. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen now for anybody watching on video so you can watch along as well as listen. So go ahead.
On action. So right now you're looking at a flow designed to get you users for your startup using Reddit. So I'll run it so you can watch Astral do its thing. First, Astral opens up a browser instance and navigates to reddit.com. Next, it's going to log us in. Astral draws boxes around relevant clickable elements to understand the page. It takes screenshots, analyzes them, and it decides what to do next based on our goal. Watch how Astral finds the right places to click. It's honestly really fascinating to see how it navigates the site just like a human would. Now Astral's heading to r/product management, where it's going to look for recent posts about user research. Okay, it's found a relevant post. Now Astral will write a reply that promotes the product without sounding too salesy. It even mentions that we're working on it to keep things transparent. And it's posted. Just like that, we've got a genuine interaction that could lead to a new user.
So there you have it. Obviously, I am super hyped on this tool, as I am with basically any and all agentic tools that we talk about. But in particular, these use cases where you have an agent or a platform that can take over the browser. And we talked about a few different projects that are going on that are trying to do just that. Claude is probably the main one with their computer use API that allows developers to tap into their agentic capabilities and perform browser actions. Google has Project Jarvis. Microsoft has Copilot Vision. all with the end goal of having an agent that can either collaborate with you in the browser or do autonomous automated actions in the browser completely unsupervised. And this is an absolutely massive part of what's going to make agentic AI and AI agents so revolutionary for businesses and for small teams and for the output of those teams. Virtually all knowledge work done right now is done via a computer, via the internet, via a device, and it is a core part of that knowledge work. So to enable these AI models access to the browsers is really the next big step for these AI agents. So what I thought I would do for the last few minutes of the episode here is just go through and kind of brainstorm some of the key processes and workflows that I would automate with a browser capable agent. Obviously, Savannah at Astral has laid out a huge one, which is this social media monitoring and the ability to engage one-to-one with prospects and potential users on social media, especially when you consider it can be done 24/7 in an entirely personalized way. Very huge. So basically, you have a social media manager as one use case here, or at least a moderator. And for now, as you heard in the video, the plans only include expanding the capabilities to other social media platforms, as I understand it. It wasn't totally clear if that is going to be the end game of Astral, is just being social media agent. It doesn't appear that way, and it certainly doesn't look like that's going to be a limit of the technology. So I don't think they're going to limit it to that. If you're looking at the landing page, especially at astral.now, which is linked in the show notes, it doesn't say anything about simply social on the landing page. It simply says build and scale marketing agents that interact with the browser to automate repetitive tasks. So I very much believe that they are going to ride this browser agent wave to its full potential at Astral. So with that in mind, I thought I would kind of spout out what comes to my mind as great opportunities for automations with these agents. I believe what I talked about in a previous episode when we touched on the computer use and other agentic tools that would be able to handle these browser automations was podcast publishing and potentially editing, but at least publishing this podcast on a daily basis eats up a huge amount of time, especially when you compile it and add it all up over the course of a quarter or a year. And to have that time back would be incredibly valuable. So we have, social media monitoring, we have podcast publishing, maybe not the finer details of editing yet, depending on the agent's capabilities. And one doesn't really need to think too hard to come up with these ideal roles for browser automations. There are countless data entry jobs out there being done by offices full of humans that could literally be upskilled to be doing something else more valuable. Unfortunately, many will probably be displaced. But ideally, if they're not spending the time copying and pasting all the data, there can be a discovery of new roles and new areas to take advantage of and arbitrage as these businesses refocus their employees. So many data entry jobs are simply copying and pasting either emails or IDs or social security numbers. Of course, with the mention of social security numbers, it's always good to talk about the security aspect of these systems. I'll be very curious to see how astral.now is handling that, as it is a primary concern of the big players in this browser agent game right now. The computer use, the Project Jarvis, Copilot Vision. I believe OpenAI has their operator agent that they have kind of hinted or talked about. So always something to be keeping a wary eye on is the safety and security aspect of these tools that have access to your devices, to your networks. So anyway, a few more examples. And I'm afraid that many of the examples are going to be the administrative jobs and jobs that require the same task to be repeated over and over daily in a computer or web browser in a software platform. So I think like claims processing for insurance companies or job recruiting or recruiting tasks for headhunting organizations where you're screening resume after resume after resume and sending out the same follow-up email, whatever you're using, whether it's ZipRecruiter or LinkedIn or Indeed. Of course, all of these platforms have likely some form of AI or some form of automation to help that, but there's often still a human kind of at the helm, as it were. So all of these things could be shopped out to these browser agents. Think about customer support as well, the categorization and follow-up that is done in these large softwares with thousands and thousands of support requests. Again, rest assured in that case as well, there's probably a good deal of AI and automation being done on the back end to categorize without any need for human intervention. And that's only increasing by the day. But still, there's likely at some level, some department, some human that's there doing some screening and fact checking as that categorization or that routing is done. So throw that on the list as well. Obviously, there are so many use cases that we haven't even touched on or thought about. Let me know what the first thing you would tell a web browser agent to do. I think that I ask that same question every time we talk about these browser agents, but I'm still curious. So I still want to know, what's that one task in your day that you want to take off your plate, hand off to an agent, and that would give you back hours and hours of time in your week? Let me know. Okay, that does it for today's episode. If you enjoyed the show or found it useful in any way, please do me a favor and follow on Spotify or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. A review on top of that would be even more appreciated and is so super helpful to the show. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you get notified each day when our episode drops. Until then, and as always, thank you for joining me, and remember to stay curious, stay consistent, and keep navigating forward. Bye.